Randall, the Forbes 2023 30 Under 30 list officially drops on Tuesday.
Yes.
And you are the creator of the Under 30 franchise. So tell us, how was this idea born?
Well, it's an idea that was right for its time. In that, if you look at human history, for a few million years, if you wanted to create something that was really great, you needed experience, you needed resources, you needed to be an apprentice, you needed to be mentored. And that has flipped in the last 20 years or so, where for the first time in human history, literally, it's an advantage to be young in most fields, in that you're digital natives, now mobile natives, Web3 natives now coming behind them, that the idea that your brain is wired differently if you were born with this technology, and technology is moving so quickly in the digital age that people who are born native actually have an advantage in terms of disrupting different industries. So it's a list that was born in my personal experience as a young entrepreneur, meeting the times, which are right now, we've never been in a time in human history like this, where being young is an advantage.
I love that. Super exciting. So tell us, it's been over a decade. How has it expanded since?
It's been really fun in that we've expanded a bunch of different ways. One, we've expanded, I think we launched with 12 different categories. We've gone all the way to 20. So it's 600 people on the list in America each year. But more interesting, actually, is how we've expanded globally, where literally there's pretty much a 30 under 30 list in every corner of the world now. And it has that same energy. And now it's a global community of more than 10,000 people who made the list. Each one vetted, each one checked out, and from all around the world. So now you have this community that's global, that's a bunch of disruptors, a bunch of super achievers, that's able to affect change on a global scale, because especially when you're young, borders don't really mean anything. Right now, the way business is done, borders don't mean anything. So you've got a generation that's global, and you've got a business climate that's never been more global. So you've got a real community now that's really trying to change the world across the whole planet.
I want to talk about that community specifically. So from this list, live events have come about. Can you speak to those, both domestically as well as internationally?
Well, we got, listen, even from when the 30 and 30 first came out 11 years ago, so this is the 12th list, but 11 years ago this month, boom, number one trending nationally on Twitter. You saw it was electric. It was, the whole country was talking about it. Was fun. It was the right list for the right time. And almost immediately we got questions, when can I meet my fellow listers? When can we get this community together? So very quickly we moved to a strategy where we started convening them, first in the United States and then around the world. And these events have become some of the most popular, some of the, we've been on every kind of list of the best, most important events in the world, the coolest events in the world, the most fun events in the world, the most influential events in the world. These are really amazing events of young super achievers. And sometimes we build them around people who also are on their way to the 30 under 30 list. So they're real, they're real sources of energy. We have a lot of people who are trying to fund companies who come to this thing because they see all those entrepreneurs there. And so it's a real place where deals get done, people get hired, companies get funded, and we've even had a bunch of marriages come out of it. So that's what a community is, right?
It sounds like happy endings all around. So how do these locations get chosen?
We're looking for, it's a good question, we're looking for kind of emerging entrepreneurial capitals. Right now we just announced that we're going to move the flagship U.S. Under 30 Summit to the state of Ohio in the next 3 years in 3 different cities. Because if you're looking at what's going on with chips and Intel's commitment to Ohio, and here's a state and 3 cities that are really devoted, and we spend a lot of time there, to becoming a new entrepreneurial capital, and to taking kind of that old kind of classic industrial might and then putting a layer of technology over it. So it's a really cool place to bring people to see something a little different. It's not like we go to New York, we go to San Francisco, that's obvious. You go to these emerging capitals. Listen, we've been in Tel Aviv the last 6 years with an EMEA summit. We've been in places like we're in Botswana right now, which is trying to emerge as kind of like a Singapore of Africa, which really is spurring entrepreneurship and free trade. We've been to Singapore itself. We've been to Hong Kong back before the crackdown, when it really was one of the kind of the cosmopolitan emerging, not emerging, but it was more entrepreneurs there on the rise than a lot of places in Asia. So we're going to different places around the world that have that kind of that verve, and that we want to bring people somewhere new and exciting and fun.
So the concept really has been duplicated. Even my alma mater has its own 30 under 30 list. for notable alumni.
Yep.
So what do you think about this list really resonates with people?
I think the idea, listen, everybody's always interested in what's next and who's next. And this list is the ultimate epitome of that. It's not the epitome of it. That's what it is. We're finding the people who are going to run every industry in every country around the world for the next 50 years. Again, it doesn't mean if you didn't make the list, you're still not going to someday be president or CEO of a company or whatever. It's not all, but a huge cross-section of this list will be people that we're all going to be interacting with and reading about for the rest of our lives. And so, of course, that's inherently interesting. And all the kind of the copycats, and I think it's all flattering. I mean, we've had the New Yorker's done a 3 under 3 list as parody. There was a video on the 10 under 10. I mean, once you start, getting into the kind of the pop culture where you're being kind of parodied, you've done something that's good.
Exactly, and I do want to talk about the themes that you're seeing on this list. This year, what's the most common theme you're seeing?
Again, we continue to see what you see in the under 30 is what the rest of the world and the rest of the business world is going to see in 5 years. So we're seeing a lot of AI-driven startups and a lot of startups that are smart about using AI. We're seeing a lot of Web3 and people who fundamentally understand that Web3 is not, it's not just say crypto or say metaverse, but it means actually it's an economy, an internet economy of ownership, and that's a big deal. And so you're seeing that in a lot of things. And so we are also seeing, even with the kind of the crypto winter here, people still applying blockchain and crypto technologies in different fields. So we're seeing the kind of things that, again, the rest of the world will see play out over the next 5 or 10 years. If you look at the 30 under 30 today, you're going to see where everything's going tomorrow, and that's why it's a fun list.